So today I'll tell you how you can sell a business for $80 million and still stay poor. So let me tell you about this entrepreneur. When he's out there, and if you're going to see him, you're going to see someone who looks very happy. When other entrepreneurs meet him, they want to talk to him, they want to learn from him, they want to see how he got to where he is right now. You see him and you think he's rich and he's happy and he got everything figured out. But you know what? Many times not everything is as it seems. And what if I told you that this entrepreneur isn't as rich as you think he is, and definitely doesn't feel as rich as you think he is feeling? What if I told you that everyone who meets him thinks he's smart and intelligent and funny and charismatic, but when you ask him how he's feeling, he actually feels like a fraud sometimes? So why a person, an entrepreneur who built an amazing business, sold a business for $80 million, feel like he's poor? And maybe he is poor. So here's why he's poor, or compared to what you think he is. And the reason is that he took investors, right? So when you take an investor, obviously you're diluting your equity. And when he sold his business, he left with less than 33% of the business. Now, when he sold his business, he didn't get $80 million cash into his bank account. He got third at closing in cash, and the rest of it was in an earnout over a 5 years period. Now, if you don't know, an earnout is basically an option to get paid if and when the business meets a specific milestone that is being determined by the buyer of that business. So that entrepreneur sold a business for $80 million on paper. In the end of the day, left with a bit less than $9 million cash, right? Now, what would you do if you were the entrepreneur who just found himself earning $9 million? So what most people are doing is, and that's what their entrepreneur did, he paid his mortgage, he bought a nice house for him and his family, he also bought his dream car, cash, and he took the rest of the money and invested in a startup with one of his friends. Now, what happened is that during the earnout period, the earnout didn't go as smooth as he wanted it to go. So that's why after all expenses, after paying back the mortgage, paying back all the debts that he had, paying back the investors, he left with less than $5 million cash in an exit of an $80 million business that he started and built. He felt embarrassed inside because he basically had nothing to show but the money he made from that deal. Everyone think he sold the business for $80 million. That's what all the newspapers and the media is saying. But his family is asking him, hey, why we don't have all the money that we want? Why we are cheap with some of the things we're doing? Why everyone think you're the best and you're rich and you're so successful, but money isn't really in order for you? And I can tell you for a fact, this entrepreneur is not alone. Many entrepreneurs are very good at building businesses, at being creative, at taking initiative, at taking risks, bringing good quality, talented employees, at managing them, at constantly innovating and growing businesses. But they're not good at keeping the money that they made. The skill of making money and the skill of keeping money is a very different skill. And it's something that I'm still learning every single day. And I'm sure that some of you are as well at that point in life. One of the biggest lessons that I learned lately is that wealth is being created in concentration, but it's being preserved in diversification. And most entrepreneurs don't do that because they have that risky vibe in them that got them to the success that they got to. And it's one skill to make money and it's a different skill to divest and protect your money. The problem is also that the entrepreneur is not asking for help. He doesn't feel comfortable asking for help. He doesn't trust people to ask for help from them. And he actually feels embarrassed asking for help after getting those results, because he's the only one who knows right now that wealth can bring a lot of challenges that most people can't even see and imagine. And that entrepreneur feels bad to even put it out there because he feels like he's a bad person because he should be grateful. So how you get out of that bad momentum? What would you do? You made a lot of money on paper, but inside you feel empty, you feel broke. What would you do? And what that person wants, what everyone wants in the end of the day, they want freedom. Every entrepreneur, what they want, they just want freedom. Freedom to do what they want, with who they want, whenever they want, as much as they want. Freedom to enjoy personal growth and impact without limits. And I can tell you, it's not easy. But slowly I'm learning that with the right structure, it can be done. I think the last thing we all want is 10 years from now to look back and say, hey, what we have to show for? What did we do? Did we do anything impactful? Did we actually did the best we can to use our potential as much as possible? So how can we make sure that we actually have something to show for the work that we do, for the life that we live? And I think it comes down to, in the end of the day, to finding your life work, to doing your life work, to doing things that you would do even if you made no money whatsoever. And I'm not talking about paying rent or like putting food on your table. I'm talking assuming that you have that basics, then make a decision on what work would you do even if money weren't involved, or what would you do if you had all the money in the world, if you were the richest person in the world right now, if you had more money than Jeff Bezos right now, what would you do in your day-to-day? And a lot of you might say, hey, I will travel, I will do this, I will do that, but then ask yourself, what would you do after you come back? Let's say you travel all around the world, you came back, what now? What an average day of yours looks like? You gotta ask yourself those questions, otherwise you're gonna make the wrong decisions in your life. Because I think one of the worst decisions you can make in your life is to go for things just for the sake of money itself. You end up empty, even from the outside. If everyone is gonna think you're rich, you're gonna end up empty inside, because you did things just for yourself, for the selfish reasons of making more money, which in the end of the day is not gonna change you that much. What is gonna change you is doing things for impact, is doing your life work for the sake of growth, and looking at business almost as a spiritual game, to grow, to impact, to give and contribute, and and all those. What would you do if you would just do things for the sake of doing them? If you just did things because your soul wants you to do it, what would you do then with your day? What would an average day of yours look like? Do things because you'll do them just for the sake of enjoying doing them. Play the game of business because you want to play the game of business. But don't do the play of business because you want to make more money. Make money will come, don't get me wrong, I'm all about capitalism. But make money will come when you play. So do things for the play, because that's what life is about in the end of the day.